Welcome back to IGN Live at E3. Don't forget, our complete E3 coverage is available everywhere IGN is available, and also on Twitter at e3.twitter.com. So remember to follow us at IGN for all the latest news. Now, LEGO Worlds is about to go retro with some new DLC. The classic Space Pack is coming soon and adds a ton of content to the game. Here to tell us more is Chris Rose. Chris, Space, what's it all about?
Well, so we've been adding quite a lot of sort of free content into the game since it came out in March on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And we decided actually now it's time to probably go ahead and do our first paid DLC pack.
Awesome. What's the reaction been like so far?
It's been brilliant. We've had so many people come to the stand going, oh, I had that when I was a kid, and I had that when I was a kid. And that's kind of the reason actually we did this pack was all of us now have kind of grown up. But we had these. So we said, oh, we want to put these in now. So it's been really, really good. So it's been really good.
That's awesome. So you've brought along a little friend who's backstage and he's going to play it for us. Is he good?
Yeah, he's far better. That's why he's playing, actually, because he's far better than I am. So he's been working for us not very long, but he's already an infinitely better builder than I'm going to be.
Really?
So yeah, it's sickening, actually.
Okay,
so
cool.
He's too good at it now. So
does it get quite competitive in the office, like who's the better builder and stuff?
No, because he's clearly better.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't even try anymore. I just know. I know I'm not getting anywhere. So
you're very modest dudes. What have we got here?
So this is the moon base. So this is basically it's a biome similar to how we have our worlds. They're all procedurally generated. So you know, a lot of what you see here isn't always determined. This particular base is always where you're going to be. So we call this a colony. So you're going to be sat there, and you'll get all these sort of models, vehicles, and some of the characters walking around.
Yeah.
But it's entirely made of the moon biome, so there's no like random forest or greenery or anything in this one. And you'll see like giant spiders, alien spiders walking around, some of the alien race that's walking around as well. You can add this biome into a normal world later on if you want to go back and do so. But it's just kind of cool to have this sort of weird vibe. And you can see around the edges we've got the old-fashioned sort of TFT effect going on.
Oh, amazing.
So the old backlit TVs.
Yeah.
So that was something we sort of filtered in.
Man, it's the little touches like that. Like you guys are putting so much cool stuff in. Like it must be awesome working in your office when you come up with something awesome to do and you'd be like, yeah, let's put that in.
Yeah. Well, it was the first time I saw it, I was like, I think my monitor's broken or something. And then I was like, oh wait a minute, I remember this. I remember this from when I was a child. All of this crazy TFT stuff. So no, that was pretty cool. And then so actually we've got these huge cruisers. You know, again, everything can be once you've got it. You've discovered it and you've done maybe some of the quests that some of the spacemen want, you can take them back to your original worlds, either in Sandbox Mode or Adventure Mode, and just start throwing them in there. So yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, we had so many people come up to us, like I said, on the stage, going, I had that one, where's this one, I had that one, you know, so it's been really, really cool. What's nice, though, is that we've seen a lot of people say to us, you know, I remember playing with this one, I remember playing with this one. Even one of your producers just went, oh yeah, I had that one. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, but that's it, that's why we've done this. But we've had a really nice blend of sort of like parents saying to us that they can now share like their memories with this sort of thing with their children.
Because that's really cool, because obviously, like, you know, LEGO Worlds is such an amazing thing for like people who are new to it, like kids discovering it for the first time. But it's also a really cool thing now that parents can be like, this is what I had when I was a kid. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, even in so this list of like brick builds, these are all predetermined builds, but we've got even like these bases in there. Yeah. Now some of these we've made, so like to just sort of add a bit more depth to the content, make sure there's more and more and more. But what's really, like, you know, it's really nice. It kind of is like Lego's original thesis was all bricks must be compatible. Yeah. So on our booth, we actually went out and bought a load of the old sets from eBay. It was like just scrounging around trying to get all these old sets. And then I realised, I opened the box, I was like, man, this thing's like 40 years old.
Oh my God.
Because some of them like late 70s. So it's like, you know, it's...
You feel bad opening the boxes?
Well, no, because they're already opened.
Right,
so they're already open and used, and a lot of boxes were dented and dinged and that. But it was more a case of, I'm a little nervous. Like one of them had like a little fraying or something. I was like, man, I'm really nervous. I don't want to break this like really old classic stuff. So, but it was really sort of cool to see it sort of laid out on the booth and that. And then you've got people coming by going, oh yeah, I remember these. Yeah. And we've had a lot of people sort of sharing the stories with us about, you know, when they sort of get, because everyone's had like, I always feel like people I know, they've always had that little donation hand me down of box of Lego. So my older cousins had the classic space stuff, so I had that, and it's gone into my stuff. And then when things like Lego Star Wars stuff came out, I've added it to the chest, and my son will get that when he's old enough to have. So it's things like that. You just think, wow, this stuff really is timeless, and it all fits together still, which is unbelievable.
It is awesome, that sort of idea of like hand me down. I think because everybody has that, like that. Everybody's like, barely anybody used to get like their own Lego. Like everyone would get this. I had like a big sort of like bucket just full of just random bits for my next door neighbour.
We had a green sort of like fake treasure chest that sort of turned into it. I think eventually when it got too much for that chest, it moved somewhere else, and that became like Christmas wrapping box or something in the end instead of that. But yeah, it was really cool. So actually one of my cousins recently did say, oh, have you still got that stuff? I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, would you like mind just have a look, sort of thing. So we went through it and we're trying to figure out if we had any incomplete sets or complete sets in there. But there was just so much. It was just you just couldn't figure it out ourselves at the moment. But
you mentioned it a second ago. But so I remember I came to you see you guys at your studio when you guys were doing Lego City Undercover.
Yeah.
And so something I learned there was there's like people there who basically have to make sure that anything you see in the game can be built with real life Lego.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people know that. So this is actually a real thing.
Yeah.
Right?
We have to respect the rules when we're making models. Have how a physical Lego model would be made.
Yeah.
Not even that as well. Like, usually we get a lot of stylistic input from Lego directly as well. We get to talk directly to model designers and these builders who this is what they do, sort of thing. So and even for like some of the creatures that we made in this game, they've never actually been made in Lego form.
Right.
But we took them to Lego and said, hey, look, we really, because the project code name was Badger, for example. Okay. So we said that we were going to put a badger in. It's a nice little touch, but you've never made one. Would you mind if we made one? They said, that's fine, just show it to us. And they gave us a little few caveats. Oh, we wouldn't do this necessarily, but we would do this, absolutely. And and I mean, some of the guys in our office now, you could class them as professional model builders because this is what they literally do all day now. So
it's like living the dream. Like every kid's dream is like literally get paid to muck about with Lego.
Unbelievable. When you get to sort of go around the model teams like that area and they've like these just drawers of Lego, they have to sit there and like, could we make that? Yeah, that would work. You can do that. And you back in the drawer, it's like break it down, back in the drawer, next project, start again. Yeah. So yeah, it's just really cool to watch them do that. And I think it's one of those nice things where even people who haven't necessarily been on the project are sort of coming up to us going, I had this idea. Look, quickly make something. And you're like, oh, that'd be really cool. Go show it to the design team and just, see what happens. And it's like everyone's really gotten into it. Which is really cool.
You guys are awesome, man. So what's he building here?
He's building your logo.
Is he?
He is. He's building the IGN logo.
That's awesome.
In space.
That's so good.
So we've got a lot of really talented builders in that sort of sense. We've seen a lot of really talented builders out of the game, in the game itself as well, sort of outside of the physical. But what we've seen is people sort of blend in between the two. Yeah. We'll quite often blend between the two. And we've already had, since we announced the space pack 2 days ago, or yesterday in fact, we've already had people saying, I've started my model to put it onto the moon sort of thing, and they're showing all these crazy space towers and like rocket pads. And it's just like already they're doing this, waiting for this to come out in sort of July, and it's just like, wow, okay, cool, this is awesome. Yeah. So we're really, already people are hyped for it. And then we announced our Switch version is coming at last.
Amazing.
So that's coming sort of this year. We're not too far off with it. We've got it actually running on the show floor, and it runs incredibly well. Oh wow! It's almost comparable to the PS4, Xbox One version. Right. It just holds it so well. We've fallen in love with the Switch. Yeah, absolutely.
I think everybody has a little bit.
Yeah, we have, and we've been really pleased with how it works on the PlayStation and Xbox. Because obviously we're in early access for quite a while, so we're we've got to do the work now and get it down into the consoles to make sure it runs really well on these. Yeah, it's done great, and then we've got the Switch version coming. Yeah, Switch version will have this included if you buy it physically. Right, which is awesome.
Have you guys been surprised by some of the awesome stuff that people have been building? It must just be amazing to come into work every day and just see the stuff that this community you've created. Well, that was just making bonkers awesome stuff.
We had like a huge sort of internal sort of show reel effectively going on, just like, this guy made this guy made this. So we were going through it, and we see a lot of sort of fantasy and reality being made. So a lot of people make like real structures like Empire State, Eiffel Tower, buildings you would expect, and then you sort of jump across and you look at things like one guy built Barad-dûr from Mordor. And I was just like, and it's huge as well. And you're like, oh my God, how much time did you spend on that? And he's like, I lost count. Like, and it's like Minas Tirith, and then there's just like things from all sorts of different games. Some people go into different games franchises. And
I think one of my favorite things is actually, I think the guy who's playing this right now he made the Metal Gear Solid.
That was him. That was him. So this is that was Bear, who's now throwing bears into the game. Yeah. Just so we don't forget about him. He's just reminding us he's there. He did the Metal Gear Solid 5 thing, and he got like a retweet from Kojima.
Oh my God.
Kojima was like, this is cool.
It was amazing. Yeah. Like I think some people's sort of eye for detail is so far beyond anything that I could make. It's almost quite daunting when I see these games. I'm just like, I don't know what to build.
Well, that's the thing as well. So when I was, like I said earlier, we got asked earlier, do you have like a build style? Do you have a way of doing things? I was like, I just use the pre-builds. I don't have that sort of focus. Ask me to make like a video or a trailer end, and I can do that. But make a structure. It's like, where do I begin? So, but then like he does this stuff. Like he's made a scale model of LA. Right. Okay, cool. So it's like, as you do.
Yeah.
So he's turned it to a racetrack. So we're using it as like a racetrack tomorrow on our stage and stuff.
Oh
and
my God, man.
He's like micro Chinese theatre and the observatory, and he's turned the Hollywood sign into Lego World, and it's just like, okay.
That's so good.
Yeah, he makes me just want to sort of actually pick it up and give it a real good go.
Yeah. Like, how do you sort of like balance between making it for people who want to use the pre-builds and making it for people who want to use want to just go crazy and make them all themselves?
Well, yeah, the option's already there. So once you've finished up, we have like 3 starter worlds, we call them. They're kind of like almost tutorials, effectively. They instruct you on how to use the tools for the first time. And then after that, you really are just kind of left to your own devices. So you can have to go around and you have to find the models in the adventure mode. But if you play in Sandbox mode, everything's unlocked. Like we're playing now in Sandbox mode. So everything's already unlocked. We've got all the models available to us, whatever you want to do. So really, it's just what would you prefer straight out the bat, which is great. So it means that then you see people make great towns or sort of villages and stuff using the prefabs. Yeah. You know, we're going to see some great moon bases will come out of this as a result. And then
I want to see some alien stuff.
Yeah, that's probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most, is people sort of maybe taking it to the next step, or maybe people will try and dive in and build some of the space stuff we haven't touched upon, more the sort of the back end, like the Black Tron series.
Right, yeah.
So I'm curious to see if people are going to start making some of that stuff as well, because
what should I do tinkering around with right here?
So these are the props. So he's just making a seat by the look of it. So I think he's going to start.
That's a seat or a toilet? That looks like a toilet.
No, it's a seat. That one is the seat. There is a toilet in there. And you know, all of our props have usually got these animations. So he's just chilling out and lounging on the moon. Is his intent right there.
You can really see the sort of effect on the TV as well, like all around the corner.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much love gone into this, man.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that once we started, we said, you know, we've got a wall of post-it notes just full of ideas. And we started like banding them together, and oh, they make sense together, they make sense together, they make sense together. And this one, as soon as we said, all right, we're going to start Classic Space now, everyone just went, oh, finally, finally, we're going to start doing this. Because people were asking for it as well. Like, we had a huge community sort of buzz about, oh, you know, can we get space sets? It's like, yes, we can do that. We're doing it now.
Well, cause I think a lot of people's first sets was the space set. So
yeah, I mean, it was at our time when Lego didn't actually necessarily brand the boxes in that way. So you know, like you've got Lego City now, you've got Lego Nexonites, and you know we've got a load of those in there. Right. So when you see the box, it has like Nexonites and City and Ninjago and everything. Back then, it was just Lego. They didn't have a brand name.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
They didn't have a sub-theme name. So it was like, wow, this is... So when we got the boxes for through, I was like, I have to make sure this is real. So when we ordered the eBay sets, and it was like, wow, that actually is what it was. Like,
So he was just riding a shark around the moon.
Yep, land sharks. Land sharks on the moon.
Of course, land sharks on the moon.
So it just gives people the chance to make their own crazy videos. Land sharks fighting purple alien spiders on the moon.
Those spiders didn't look like they were hurting anybody, and he's just gone up and started roughing them up for no reason.
Maybe, but they are spiders.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of spiders. So.
I love all the stuff that he's doing, man. Like, it's just so good at the moment. Like, it looks like quite sparse. So is that because you just want people to just go crazy and do whatever they want?
Yeah, and the moons in particular, obviously it has that kind of a vibe to it then as well. And obviously when you remember the whole plates they had, the sort of grey plates with the sort of craters on them and stuff, it just kind of made more sense. Yeah. But then when you go into the other ones, they're quite vibrant and full. Yeah. And then the idea as well is that you can effectively terraform this and turn it into a greenery or into a volcano. You could be a moon volcano or super volcano and stuff.
How long would that take?
Not too long. Some of the tools let you lift out of the ground effectively and raise up into like mounds of dirt. I think he's going to try that now actually if he gets a chance. So yeah, here we go. So here we go. So plateau or peak or dome, one of these things, these shapes here. If you get it to the right size, he'll just drag it up out of the floor, and the floor will pull into the right shape for you. Yeah. So yeah, you can see now there's like a peak out from that floor. So if you set it to the right size, and then you sort of shrink it and invert it and go down, you can give yourself like a little pit, and then you can fill it full of lava, and you can paint streaks of lava down the side. Yeah. It doesn't actually take that long. Yeah. I mean, depending on the size. If you're going for like 1-to-1 scale Etna or something like that, it's pretty big. But you know, if you're just going to do something like, you know, I want a small micro lava pool or something, it's easy. Yeah. And then we've got moon cheese as a terrain type, of course.
Obviously. Because the moon got to have cheese on the moon.
The moon is cheese. So here's our cheesy moon. Land mass. So yeah, you know, and again, it really is up to you how you want to do these things. We don't force it upon you to have to do certain things. I mean, there are quests in these worlds as well to unlock the characters and particularly the creatures.
What kind of quests will you be doing?
It's like they're like general fetch quests, protection quests. Okay. I want this item. I want you to protect me from the giant pink spiders, purple spiders, because they will sort of surge on one of them. Yeah. And then some of them are like, I need a wrench to finish the rocket. You finish that, and then you get the blueprint for the rocket. You know, so things like that. There's a general flow to it. But if you want to play in Sandbox mode, just play in Sandbox mode. That is it, really. So, you have them all then unlocked straight away.
You guys have been demoing this on the show floor this week, right?
Yes.
So what has been the reaction from people?
So we've got the PC version with Space on. We've got a Switch version going.
Right.
Space has been brilliant.
So you can play the Switch version here?
Yeah, we've got it.
Oh my God.
We've actually
Amazing.
got the Switch version. Yeah. So it's on the stand right now.
Yeah.
So. Lots of love for the Space Pack.
Yeah.
Real love for the Space Pack. It's been really cool. People have been like, oh man, like I said earlier, that I remember this, and you know, we've been doing that sort of thing. But then people have also been trying to do get creative at the same time, so like doing some little boom bases and just destroying everything else. Hi there. So we've seen a lot of good reaction there, but the actual reaction to the Switch, I think. Like I said earlier, everyone's really kind of fallen in love with the Switch. So people sat there going, oh, am I playing the Switch version? Yeah, this is literally a Switch. So sort of open a little cabinet, there it is. And people are loving it, saying like, oh wow, this. I can imagine this on the go quite quickly. And when we were testing our E3 build, I haven't had a chance for a while to just sit and play the game. Right. I'm always like, oh, I've got to check the Space Pack, I've got to check the next to night's models, and I've got to do these things, and I've got to talk to these guys. But I had a bit of time just to sort of sit and play it on the Switch, and I just sort of went and sat in the corner of our office and just sort of sat there and played the Switch for a couple of hours. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, this is so satisfying. Yeah. I could easily see, like, I wish I had one with that on it for the playing over here.
Oh man, yeah. Like we've got a guy who has been playing Minecraft all the way there, and it's like, it feels like this is like the perfect marriage for the Switch, really. Yeah, it's been brilliant. And Nintendo have been really interested in it as well. They've been like, oh, can we come have a look? So they came and played it the other day, and they were like, oh, love it, brilliant. So yeah, it's been really cool. I've had a lot of love come out of it for that one. And how does it work with the Switch? Does it work with like motion controls with it, or is it locked in? No, it's anywhere. There's 3 controller configurations. You can have it obviously in the normal handheld mode, which clips on. You can unclip them and put them into the controller format, or you can use the Pro controller. Yeah. And we haven't put too many sort of motion controls in because, like I said, we're trying to maintain parity a little bit between all the functions. On all the consoles. So it means then, you don't want to overdevelop for one, and then it's like, actually we need to go back now and redevelop. But at the same time, you want to sort of make sure there's a bit of sort of transferability between it. So if you've got multiple versions, you can sort of get used to that sort of aspect of it. How quickly after you saw the Switch were you like, right, we've got to get this on the Switch right now? Pretty much straight away, I think. Yeah, I think when we first got our first sort of developer units in, we had Lego City on the cover. Yes. And I remember seeing the city running on that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's we got to get on this now. Like, it seems like a console that a lot of developers have just completely fallen in love with straight away. We were amazed at how easy to work with was so quickly. I think that was the crazy thing. We fired at the first version of it and said, this is going to need a lot of optimization because you look at the specs, you think, oh, maybe the specs aren't going to work so well, but we tried at the first version of it and it just worked. Yeah. And we were like, this is, okay, that's not a lot of work, going to have to go into the optimization, this is working well. So some things we've got to change, like the way the hard drive, because we're quite memory heavy, for like reading heavy, for like hard drive capacity. Yeah. So we figured that out on the other consoles, we just got to be a bit more wary of it on the Switch, so we don't fill everyone's hard drives up. They want other stuff on there as well, I guess. Why they wouldn't want to play this all the time, I don't know, but yeah, so that's kind of the aim of it, is just to sort of get those last little details together, and then we're very close. Dude, it's so good. Thank you so much for showing this today. Thank you to the person making the IGN logo. That was really, really good. Stay right here. IGN Live at E3. We'll be right back.